Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Wednesday, May 8th. All right. So, what I thought I'd talk about today is, keep the comments coming because I really enjoy reading them and stuff. And if you need some help in certain areas, don't be afraid to ask because we're more than willing to offer our expertise or our wisdom, as I put it. But I thought I would just kind of give you a run through of what we did yesterday. And it kind of plays into work and play's idea in a sense of, and then also of a video that I got done yesterday afternoon that will be coming out this morning around 7, I think, on how not to bring your stuff to a repair shop in a box of parts. But we'll talk about a little bit about both of those, so hang tight. Alrighty, so welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, and this is the weekday, Monday through Friday, and it's available on podcasts or video for your listening or viewing pleasure. We try to accomplish giving you wisdom and ideas of how you can, whether it's business or your personal life, what have you. But our day started out yesterday morning, I knew I had a bunch on our plate that need to get done. So we need to start early at it. And so I had everything knocked out. I think the video I had yesterday morning all up and edited and up by 6:30 or so. And today's going to be another hustle day. But yesterday was kind of like up your alley work and play of what you were talking about. I understand it with the licensing and insuring and all that other stuff, but we already are all licensed, insured, and are a business. So I'll kind of show you how we did it. So yesterday morning, the first call was a bandsaw sawmill. And it had a big Briggs and Stratton on it, and it was surging. Normally, we like to have that stuff at our shop, but we decided that we'd go over and do a quick pull. And a quick pull is the only way to get to that carburetor is you have to tear the fuel tank off, the air breather covers, all that crap to expose the carburetor. But once we had done that, we realized that there's a flaw in our thinking because the bolts come up through from the bottom into that carburetor instead of down through the top or in through the sides. So we had two options: either stop there and rethink our plan of attack, or localize. So we're this far. Let's go ahead and pop the top cover off and let me see what's inside that carburetor. See if there's a lot of goop and glump and crap in it. And I asked the owner, I said, when was the last time you did anything with this carburetor? And he just said never, other than very particular about running premium fuel, about shutting the fuel off, letting it run dry. Well taken care of. And it was an older machine, probably 25, 30 years old, but pretty neat because he was in his mid to late 70s and he's still sawing boards. And you got people that are 30 and 40 that won't get off the couch or the love seat or their recliner because they say their back hurts and stuff. What a difference in times, right? So we had already gotten down to taking the 4 screws out of the top of the carburetor when he come out. He said, I didn't even know you guys were here. I said, yeah. come over here first thing, and we didn't want to wake anybody up, so we figured we just knock this out quick, and we explained to him what we ran into. So when I popped the cover, there was our culprit. I mean, it was right full of crap, the carburetor. So we pulled the needle seat float out, and with carburetor cleaner, cleaned all the orifices out, took a rag, and just kept wiping the bottom of the carburetor, and then using carburetor cleaner again to clean it up. And we got it good and clean. And I also added the PRI-G that Jason recommends. I guess I'm doing that now with all the equipment I run into. I give it just a little bit, it doesn't take much. And I want to see what the results are. Get it in as many machines as possible, and let's see what it does. Because I asked him if the fuel that was in it, was that this year's, last year's? He said no. He said I drained the fuel system and put all fresh fuel in it this year. So okay. So we cleaned that all up and put it all back together. Second pull it was running. And it had just a very slight. And as we explained to him, go ahead and use it. You can't hurt it any. I put some additive in it. You know, the more you run it, I think the better it's going to get. If not, get a hold of us. And it's going to take a little bit more time to get down to the manifold to get to take it off that direction. Alright, so that took us all of 45 minutes. And we ended up charging him a service call plus a half hour or something like that. It ended up being $75. From there, we went about 7 miles north of there to one of our customers said that the lawnmower was making a banging noise. And so we got there, and sure enough, it wasn't banging, it was just surging. She just added fresh fuel for the Stewart, she said. We had that in for a service early this spring. So we knew it was all service and it was great in that way, but the surging was something new because it wasn't doing that at the shop. Again, I brought out the bottle of bug juice and put a little bit into that, shook it all up, and told her, run it, because she wanted to mow her yard yesterday. I said, go ahead and mow your yard. You can't hurt it. And if it doesn't come out of that, then I'm going to have to dig a little deeper into that carburetor. So I'm waiting to see if I hear anything from her this morning. So that was stop 2. Stop 3 was, we talked about the lady with the mower that just wanted it running, didn't want anything else done, and how you end up owning anything that happens to it. We get out there, and that's simply a belt fell off. But all the belt guides are there, so it's a fluke to us that everything looked good underneath. So we didn't have to do anything other than put the belt back on. I know a lot of times it depends on how fast you throw that belt in gear and out of gear. I've seen them go flying off. That was number 3. Now, if you were doing your service calls, the second one would have got hit with 50 plus a half hour. The third one would have got hit with 50 plus a half hour. And we started at 7:30, and it was 8:45 when we finished up on the last one to head back to the shop. So, I mean, if you got enough of them, I could see it. But, like, you know, Jason was mentioning and others were mentioning that if you need parts, that's where it's going to screw you. Because now you got to run all the way back to the shop. You got to order them, right? If it's just basically a general service of oil filter, fuel filter, air filter, it's not so much, because you can stock that. If you know the machines you're working on before you leave, then you can have it on the truck. But sometimes it doesn't require any parts, it just requires time to do it. And if you don't charge correctly for the time, then you're going to get screwed. We have a local John Deere dealership that they do have a mobile service. Well, here's the clinker. They charge around $250 to $300 to do just an oil change on your lawnmower. They'll come right to your door, and they'll take the riding machine rider up into their enclosed trailer, drain all the oil, new oil filter, and most of them now, the John Deere's coming through that filter where you don't drain any oil, you just pop it on and go. So they're charging $200 to $300 plus parts. But this is where they get you, is that if you just want it picked up and taken back to the shop and have it done and then brought back, they're going to charge me over $100 each direction to come from their location to mine, even though I am within 20 miles of them. $100 each direction. So it's $100 to come get it, and then when it's done, it's another $100 to bring it back. So there's $200. Plus the cost of the service, plus the cost of parts. You figure it out. Is it cheaper just to have them to come to the house and get it done and have it ready to go in about an hour's time? Or have them take it back? You're going to spend more money having them take it back. So you might better sign up for this mobile service. And because they'll ask you all sorts of questions, like what model do you have? They'll bring blades with them. And they'll charge extra if they have to replace blades. That's not part of their service, quote unquote. Their service is simply an oil change and check the fluids. Other than that, but they'll carry the blades, belts for that machine just in case when that mechanic leaves the shop in the morning. That way it's possible. But then their way, they've got somebody else managing the billing, the customers, the appointments. Their mechanic, it basically just drives from one location to the next based on what the person is doing, the receiving the calls and doing the appointments, right? So there's two people involved at least when it comes to the mobile service for them. For us, we just carry invoices right with us. So we can write it all right out right there at the property and give it to them, and voila, instant paid. So it is possible if you charge enough and your stops are close together. You know, we did 3 stops in under 2 hours. So if you can do, all day, like an 8-hour day and multiple stops, and you charge a service call for every stop, that's $50 just to show up. And depending on your location and the going rate, it may be $100. It depends on what location, and the customers that you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a more affluent, wealthier person, then they expect they're going to pay more because they're thinking that they're getting what they're paying for, right? So if you aren't charging enough, then they feel that you're not worthwhile, I guess. So if you're in a heavier population, you can get enough, keep you busy 8 hours a day, and then at least 5 days a week. I think even 4 days a week, you could make decent money. But you'd have to have somebody handling the phone calls, the appointments, making sure the parts are on the truck or trailer that you're hauling. So just in case, it's kind of like when you go to buy a new vehicle. The new vehicle is this price, right? And you kind of hackle a little bit to get a better price. Where they make their most money is the add-ons, like the special bed liners in trucks, the spray-in, the special mats that go into the trucks. Those are an add-on. Sirius radio, that's an add-on. It's all these other stuff that they add. Jacks up the price of whatever that vehicle is, right? See, they're trying to upsell any of the products that they have there. And the more they can upsell, the more money the dealership can make. So that's another option for you if you're doing a lawn care mobile, is the upsell. Is when you're there, what other things can you do? I mean, do the belts need to be replaced? Do the blades need to be replaced? Is there something busted on the unit that you have parts for? It's all these things, right? All right, so let's get into the second segment, and that's going to be the video that's coming out this morning around 7, and that's how not to bring stuff to you. And if you guys have been in the business very long, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's these ones that are dropping off crap that they found free on the roadside, or they got a hell of a deal at an auction where somebody has consigned, and this is what I tell my customers. If it's 90 or below, tell them, just throw it in a consignment auction, where open to the general public and let people bid on it. Some yo-yo is going to want to buy it and think they can fix it, until that yo-yo decides to bring it back to the shop again, because you've already seen that and you know what's the matter with it, right? I try to discourage it, because it does. It wastes a lot of my time and the shop time, because you're looking at, I use them for props on the chainsaws, but he brought me 2 chainsaws and a box of parts, and he left them on my doorstep, because he dropped them off like 5-6 o'clock at night, but he left them on my doorstep at the shop. And there's no way in hell that it would be worthwhile to try to fix either one of them. And he give $150 for the pair of them. But it's one of those deals where he saw marked on clearance from Tractor Supply, these 2 chainsaws, make an offer. And even though one of the saws had a pink tag on it that said defective, C cylinder, he still thought it'd be a good deal. And the man doesn't own a chainsaw. He doesn't know how to even use a chainsaw. But you can lose a lot of valuable time with these guys if they start bringing this to you. And we discourage it enough so that people stop bringing it to us, and they start taking it somewhere else. Because we know just the time and parts are going to be counterproductive. We're going to lose money. We're not going to make any money. We're going to lose money. Now, if you're a shop, it does have value as in parts. If you see enough of those chainsaws that come through that model and that make, where you might need a rewind or, a muffler, bar and chain, what have you, I can see it. Or if you own one of them to home and you're buying it just as a parts machine where you can take the bar and chain and whatever else you might need, that's understandable. But if you're buying it to try to fix it, and you don't have the know-how of how to fix it, and you're taking it to a shop that's going to charge you 55 and above per hour to work on it, and one of them was a pull-on and the other one was an off black shaft or something like that. It's a Chinese saw. They're not worth putting the time and money into. It's a parts machine. And we've had lawnmowers dropped off that they just said get it running, and it's something that they found for free on the side of the road. And you do a compression check, and the first thing you find out is compression's low. So then you go to overhead valves, adjust the valves, compression's still low. It's a junk machine. Good chances are somebody's already checked that unit out. Now, are there flukes where you get somebody that the lawnmower, push mower, riding lawnmower looks in good shape, and the overhead valves are out of adjustment, and just adjusting them fixed the problem? Absolutely. I bought many of them like that. But the bulk that we see with customers, that's not a customer that's bringing in, isn't. It's stuff that we've already told our customer, look, get rid of it. I don't care where you get rid of it, but just get rid of it. It's on its last leg. Well, on that note, you guys have a great Wednesday, and we'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning. Thanks so much for watching.